Hey guys, Richard from Digital Foundry here, and I'm looking at a bunch of platform-specific games running on Nvidia's microconsole, the Shield Android TV, based on its cutting-edge Tegra X1 processor. So, Tegra X1, it features an octo-core arrangement with 4 of ARM's top-end A57 processors, combined with 4 more of its lower-power A53s. But it's the graphics component that's the star of the show here. It features the same second-generation Maxwell architecture found in Nvidia's latest desktop graphics card, albeit scaled down somewhat. So take the desktop GTX 950 for example. It's a $160, £130 GPU. It features 768 CUDA cores. Now Tegra X1 has 1/3 that, 256. Now that's not bad for a mobile-orientated processor, and it's significantly more powerful than the graphics chips found in the PS3 and Xbox 360. And you can see that in full effect with the analysis that you're watching now. This is Doom 3 BFG edition running on the Shield Android TV console. It's a game we've previously seen running on the last-gen consoles, where neither of them could sustain 720p at 60 FPS. The Shield hardware not only has a more consistent frame rate, it's also running the game at native 1080p with only the tiniest of performance hitches, usually limited to a solitary frame and thus practically invisible during gameplay. So what's the secret here? Well, the original Doom 3 was produced using a graphics language known as OpenGL, and that API is fully supported on Tegra X1 here, thanks in no small part to the desktop heritage of the GPU. This made the port fairly straightforward and produces superb results. It's the exact same methodology used to bring Trine 2 onto the Shield platform. One of the most visually lush games available on Shield, and indeed Android as a whole, Trine 2 was originally released for the Shield tablet where it ran at the same frame rate as you're seeing here, but at a native 720p resolution. Nvidia believes that Tegra X1 is over twice as powerful as the Tegra K1 in their tablet, and this is perhaps borne out by what we're seeing here with Trine 2. While frame rate remains unchanged from the tablet release, we are seeing a jump in resolution from 720p to 1080p, a 2.25x increase in pixel count. The end result is an identical release in gameplay terms, but with a notable improvement in image quality. A visually rich game finally has the resolution to make the most of its assets. However, you will note that frame pacing is variable, with the frame times in the graph here switching regularly from 16 to 33 to 50 milliseconds. On console, that's locked to a much more consistent 33 milliseconds, giving us a more level experience overall and the sensation of a higher frame rate. Regulating frame times to produce better consistency seems to be a real weakness with Android, and it really needs to be addressed. Now, this isn't really the fault of the developer, of course, more the operating system itself, though perhaps Nvidia could do something about it within the graphics driver. After all, it has some pretty good options there in its desktop GPUs. Thus far then, Shield Android TV looks strong as a games machine, but there are some issues with other titles. So here's Half-Life 2 Episode 2, the most technologically advanced title in the series' history, ported over to the Shield platform by Nvidia itself. Here the game is running at a full 1080p, albeit with no anti-aliasing. Frame rates are completely unlocked, resulting in a variable experience and lots of judder. In our testing we saw anything from 30 FPS to 60 FPS. You'd expect a GPU as capable as the one in Tegra X1 to produce a much more consistent experience, and again we would prefer a locked 30 FPS with proper frame pacing over the variable experience we see here. We should point out that some of the long frame time dips here actually seem to be storage related. We're running the game from a micro SD card here, and those deep dips aren't anywhere near as bad running from the 16GB of onboard storage directly. However, this is a 4GB game, so that onboard space gets eaten up pretty quickly. Okay, and finally here's a look at War Thunder running on the Shield Android TV. Again, we're looking at a full 1080p presentation, and visual quality is really quite special. But again, performance is the issue here. Frame rates are once again unlocked and variable, and can dip below 30 FPS. The Shield Android TV's GPU is indisputably the fastest yet made for a mobile-orientated chipset, but there is the sense that perhaps the CPU element hasn't caught up in terms of performance, and also that the Android OS itself still needs some work. We've got the power here to effortlessly move beyond the last-gen consoles. Doom 3 BFG proves that pretty convincingly, but other elements clearly aren't quite there yet. So that's a quick look at performance on Nvidia's Shield Android TV. Quite a remarkable amount of power in such a small package, but not quite the finished article overall. And that's all we've got for now. Give us a like if you found this video useful, and subscribe to Digital Foundry to ensure you don't miss a thing. That's all for now. Thanks for watching.